There's never an end. You know what's so interesting? That's such a good question. When I first got into personal development, I thought I was in it for a destination. I wanted create a certain life. Once you get in it, you know there's no end. This is not a destination, it's a journey. And you may not be aware of that when you get in. I know I wasn't. And like I said, I was modeled by somebody who was a great teacher for me and a great role model in Bob Proctor. And he told me, every day I study, and I asked him one day, I go, why do you study every day? And he said, because I don't even get this. He goes, I get it to a certain level, but I can get so much better. And he said, Arash, never quit studying, ever. He said, you have to study every day, and I've never stopped studying every day. The difference between being rich and being wealthy are very different. There's a lot of people who have a lot of money. They may be commission professionals, they may have their own business, and they have a lot of money, but they don't have great relationships. Wealth is so much further. Wealth is all gamuts of your life, your health, your relationships, your purpose. And wealth is about getting your money working for you as well. A lot of people can earn, let's say a commission sales professional that's at the top 1%. They may be earning $1 million or more, but they're not having their money work for them. You want to have all the gamuts. You want to have an amazing relationship with yourself. That's a form of wealth. You want to have your prosperity working for you. You want to be on purpose. You want to keep expanding. You want to have amazing relationships. You want to have amazing business relationships, amazing personal relationships. But I'll look at a lot of people, and I remember when I was growing I never wanted to be rich. I wanted to be wealthy. I wanted to have all gamuts of my life really be inspired and constantly stretching. So one of the keys that I teach our clients is how to create wealth the way they want it. It's not based on what I want. That's what I wanted. I wanted the whole gamut. I wanted to take amazing vacations. I wanted to give experiences to my family. I wanted to learn new cultures. Like I love going to Europe. Europe is so wonderful because you're going into a completely different culture and you're walking into their culture and you can learn so much. That was for me. But if anybody wants to be wealthy, look at all the gamuts of what's important to you, because at the end of the day, it's about you, what's important to you. And there's a big difference between being rich and being wealthy. Rich is just money. Wealth is all gamuts. Health is number one, because without your health, you have nothing. And you have to take care of your health. And that's mental health first, that's physical health, and that's living your life in temperance. And really, a lot of people don't prioritize health until something happens to them. And I remember a situation for me. This is, 6, 7, 8 years ago. And I had something going on with my throat. And I literally couldn't swallow. And at that moment, that was one of these emotional impacts that I had that changed my life. And it was 3 months of really re-healing that. And it ended up being nothing very big, but it was miserable because every time I ate, I thought I was choking. And anyway, at that time I said, you've got to play your life differently. And I was too serious. And I was not enjoying myself as much. And in that moment, I changed like literally in an instant. I said, I'm going to have great experiences and enjoy myself and stop taking everything so seriously. But that's when that is the moment I valued my health. But it took something to wake me up. And I feel like it was God tapping me on the shoulder. And ever since then, experiences and taking care of myself has been a huge priority. Well, everything, your mental health is going to create your priorities. Everything is mindset. So your mental health is the most important. That's going to create the choices in your physical health. I mean, I was modeled by my parents so well with that. I mean, both my mom and dad were super generous. My dad was extremely generous. I saw that at a young age. He taught me so many lessons by watching him. He would give the shirt off his back. So, I don't believe in frugality. I think being cheap is very expensive. And I just believe there's abundance everywhere. I've always believed that. Even when I was in college, I would always want to give people stuff. That's just been a part of my DNA, and I give my parents all the credit for that. And then, it took it to another level when I was around my mentor, Bob Proctor. He was the most generous person I had ever been around, ever. He modeled such a good understanding for me about leaving people better off than you found them in any way you can. I mean, he was extremely generous, and it took my level of generosity to the next level watching that model. It's so important, your environment, your mentors, the people you associate with, because you really become who you hang around with, who you talk to most of the time. And that's why when I was, for 14 years, Bob and I were so tight. And I would always pick his brain because I wanted to learn what he knew. And I remember him telling me, he goes, "You're just like I was." You go, "That's what I used to do with Earl Nightingale. That's what I used to do with my mentors." And I just knew, like, even when you don't know, you just know you're in a special period to really grow. And I was in my early 30s, and I just knew that I wanted to always learn. And I learned in so many different ways. That's why I'm always so passionate about mentorship, because you could learn from anybody. Like, I learn from my clients. You learn. Bob always told me this: you learn more from your losses than your wins. And isn't that the truth? Because your losses, you don't want to keep repeating them. So you learn from them. They have a deep impact on you in terms of awareness. And so if you're watching this, you want to find somebody that you could model and that you admire, and watch how they behave. Watch the traits. And you may not like every single trait about them. You're not trying to be them, but you want to learn from their experiences. I remember when I was really failing, and I really wanted to create a better life for myself. I kept reading these books, and they said success leaves clues. And there's nothing more accurate than that. Success is always leaving clues through other people. And that's why we have access to all the information in the world. And it's what we do with that information and what we do with our preparation that is key. If you look at during a day, there's so many obstacles that every one of us faces throughout the day. And it takes a disciplined mind to really understand that you don't get distracted. You have to be very focused. See, the moment you get distracted, there's so many distractions out there. You could look at social media. You could look at your text messages. You could look at, I'm going to take a break. The biggest fallacy that everyone has is they think they have all this time in the world. We don't know how much time we have. We have to take advantage of the time we have, and that's why goals are so important. Goals are so important because when you have a goal, you're working within. You're working with something that you're going towards. And it creates such focus and inspiration. Without a goal, anybody, I know there's been times where I haven't had goals. I've had wishes, but not goals. And those are the times I've drifted the most. So And I want people to understand, if one person can do it, anybody can do it. If one person can live an opulent life, then every single person can. Now, you have to pay that price. That price is building your self-esteem up. That price is surrounding yourself with the right environment. That price is disciplining your thinking. That price is raising your standard. And that price is building a bigger idea of yourself. And I watch too many people, they think because of the past, or they think because of their current situation they can't do it, and it's just not true. Well, it's kind of synonymous. Guiding is direction. Leadership is what creates success. Without a vision, William James said this, without a vision, people perish. The leader's job is to lead with a vision. And leadership is about the development of people. That's what leadership is. And one of my main philosophies, I call it ABD. It's always be developing. Always be developing myself, always be developing my team. And the way I lead is really get to know every person on my team. I never lead by looking at their numbers or looking at what they've done. I want to know, what do they want? What is going on in their life? I know if somebody is struggling, there's something else going on. So I don't work with them on their numbers, I work with them on themselves. I let them express what's going on. Then I ask them, well, what do you really want? So the more you get to know people, that's how they're going to understand how much you care about them. And leadership is about empathy, it's about compassion, and it's about leading with an example and leading with a servant heart. It's not about what you can get from people, it's how you could show them, and you put all your energy on showing them and working with them and sprinting with them on getting them to their goals, and you will always be taken care of. Yeah, there's good distractions. I think taking a vacation is a good distraction. You know, I take a lot of vacations. I do it because I sprint. I go really hard and then I need a break. I go really hard, then I need a break. That's my philosophy. Now, I know a lot of people will not take breaks, and I think it's a mistake. And I think you have to take breaks. See, when you're working for fulfillment, but then you need to re-energize. Every time I take a break, I'll come up with being so refreshed when I come back, and I create so many new ideas and so many more growth because I took that break. And I think that's a good distraction. For me, sports is a great distraction. It's a hobby of mine. I love watching sports. I love going to sporting events. I love playing sports. You know, that's a great distraction. Friendships are amazing. And so I think there's definitely good distractions.